Okay, so here is my Savi's Workshop NeoPixel conversion to a Proffie 2.2. I got this thing probably in June of last year, 2019. Went to the Galaxy's Edge, had a really cool time, really enjoyed building it. But once I got it home, it's pretty junky as far as the electronics. I mean, besides the fact this thing is like a mammoth piece of metal, it's still a pretty cool experience, and I highly recommend you guys do it if you end up going to Galaxy's Edge. The $200 is for the experience, it's not for the lightsaber at all. But I had an extra Proffie board sitting around, a couple extra batteries and speakers, so I figured let me see what I can do with this thing. So the first thing I needed to do, I needed to come up with a switch solution, so I kind of created this little switch box, control box up here that I can put a recharge port and the button in. The Savi's Workshop has a plastic core that these pieces just kind of fit on, and then these two pieces snap in. I wanted to keep that because of the size. The problem with it is, though, that the Savi's blades have this kind of fat plastic thing that kind of locks into place. It makes a little sound when you twist it in, which is cool for being able to swap blades out and whatnot. But a regular 1-inch NeoPixel blade wasn't going to fit, so I needed to create a 3D print and two inner core tubes, one for the chassis and then one for the blade. So the blade one runs to about here, all the way down the emitter section, kind of locks into place here, and then the chassis goes from about here and locks into place. Now, if you unscrew these things, the one thing I really liked about the thing was the crystal chamber reveal. So it comes with these little kyber crystals, and what you do is you pick one of these crystals, and there's got some story to it, and whichever one you pick, the color is what the color of the blade is going to be in the sound font. And if you put this inside a holocron or a Sith holocron, it'll play a sound. So it's got some RFID technology here, which is kind of cool, but it's kind of annoying to kind of taking these things out. So what I ended up doing was kind of creating my own little crystal chamber in this space, and you can kind of see the plastic part here where everything sits, and this thing would usually just fit right in there, but I ended up leaving it in there. So nothing fancy, just a 3D printable crystal chamber with a NeoPixel in the end there. So if I fire it up, you can kind of see it runs. Smooth swing, works great, blaster, all that good stuff. You can see, if I take the pommel off and then slide this part out, you can kind of still see that the chassis or the inner core is still the same. Now this piece slides off, and there's another one up here, but I'm going to take that one off. I kept the screws. If you unscrew these, you can pull this whole thing off and get to the SD card and the board itself. You need to flash the board. I probably will never take this thing apart again because I have all my fonts on there, and I have a pretty much standard Proffie setup that I like for my NeoPixel blade, so it pretty much does what I want. But if I ever do need to do it, it's not a huge deal to just take it off. It was a fun little project. Took me a couple days, nothing crazy. More time to print this stuff and design the chassis inside to have it lock into place, because it kind of butts up against it and locks into this area right here, and then the tube locks into there. I ended up tapping the top here, right there, for the blade retention, so you can fit a 1-inch NeoPixel blade in there, which is kind of cool. The crystal chamber is kind of a half crystal chamber. You can kind of see it because I needed a thing to run the wires down through, which was kind of cool, and it actually fits. And it fits really solid, and it's a solid piece, especially with the inner core inside their core. You could dual with this thing. I don't know why you would ever want to, but you could. But let me show you the difference between the light itself, like the blade brightness. It's night and day. Also, the sensitivity of this thing, of the original one, was such crap that you could bang it against a tree and it may flash. It was terrible. So let's take a look at what it looks like.